In a Japanese temple sits a doll with human-like hair. Every year, the hair grows longer. Locals say it is possessed by the spirit of a little girl. This is the story of OKIKU's doll. Strands end unevenly, freshly trimmed yet restless. Hair whispering against silk as if remembering a body it once belonged to. Candles shudder on the altar. Wood breathes in the dark. A hush rising and falling like something asleep but listening. Some objects collect dust. Others collect stories. OKIKU collects time and whispers. Look closely at the eyes and you might feel watched. Each strand glints against the kimono, fine as spider silk. A living threadwork that refuses stillness or forgetting. A shrine room breathes, with wood, with fire, with fear. The corridor narrows into quiet, grain, dust, fading light, drawing you forward as though the shrine itself is calling. They say the hair still lengthens, faded brocade and worn dye. Patterns soften at the touch, holding warmth the fabric should have long since released, and that a child never left. In 1918, a boy bought a doll for his younger sister, OKIKU. OKIKU cradled the Ichimatsu doll, sunlight on her cheeks, small hands smoothing hair with a care that felt like prayer. She loved it dearly. Porcelain blush, glass eyes steady, reflections bloom in them, like windows where someone stands just behind the curtain. Days turned into rituals, combing, dressing, whispering secrets. The house learned to listen. An empty corner held the doll, and the air gathered itself around her. But childhood is fragile. When OKIKU died young, grief rewrote the house. By candlelight, the doll waited, small and unblinking on a shelf, meant for offerings rather than company. They kept the doll as a bridge across absence. Then the family noticed something strange. The doll's hair was growing. Within the temple alcove, quiet collects like dust. The doll accepts it gently, a guest with no departure. Millimeters became centimeters. Hair slips past the shoulders in dark lines, a curtain descending, as if time itself were combing it longer. Love turned to unease. They cut it, but it always grew back. On the altar shelf, the doll sits perfectly framed. Flames murmur nearby, measuring minutes in wavering gold, as if the doll remembered the length it wanted. Disturbed, they gave the doll to a temple in Hokkaido, where it remains today. Monks regularly trim its hair. Rim light outlines the hair's fall, measured, patient, unrelenting, as though it obeyed a calendar only it can read. Still, it continues to grow. Incense curls around wax and wood, a soft fog carrying prayers. The doll seems to breathe it in. Scientists who examined it found that the strands are indeed human. Under cold lab lamps, slides gleam. Magnified strands show cuticles and keratin, the proof of a human origin. Not nylon, not horsehair, human. A faded photograph leans on the shrine, edges curled, a smile gone to sepia, memory preserved like pressed flowers. And yet, no one could tell why it changes. Beyond the shrine, a wooden corridor recedes. Shadows lengthen, and each step away feels strangely impolite. Only that it does. Spiritual theory. OKIKU's spirit lives inside, expressing herself through the doll. Up close, split ends and fine fibers quiver. A presence seems to move through them like wind through reeds. A conduit for love that refused to dim. Silhouetted against votive light, the figure keeps vigil. Small, solemn, and heavy with borrowed meaning. Skeptical theory. Environmental factors make the hair appear to grow. Fibers fray, taper, and divide. What looks like growth might be the body's quiet way of remembering touch. Moisture, gravity, the bias of memory, simple mechanics, unsettling effect. Kimono seams soften from years of hands. Threads hold a map of affection rubbed into the cloth. Cultural theory. In Japan, spirits can attach to objects, especially those loved. The altar's edge cradles the doll, A slow pan reveals how stillness can hum with expectation. Belief gives objects a long memory. Hair trails over patterned silk, dark over color, like ink finding the grooves of an old engraving. 3 lenses, 1 gaze. Whichever you choose, the hair remains. We pull back to the quiet shrine. Emptiness gathers, and the doll remains the room's only heartbeat. Visitors claim the doll's eyes sometimes follow them. The temple waits in a dim hush. The doll sits centered, the silence arranged carefully around her. Is it optics or intention? Shadows cross the face and hair. Details emerge, then sink again, like thoughts you try not to keep. Whether haunted or not, OKIKU's doll remains one of Japan's most unsettling artifacts. The altar holds its breath. Somewhere a floorboard settles, and the stillness settles back. Rules become rituals. Rituals become stories. An empty frame around a small presence. Deep shadows keep secrets that visitors sense but never prove. If you ever visit the temple, do not stare too long. First a full figure, then the room at dusk. Benches empty, the doll distant, yet somehow closer than before. Morning arrives. The doll remains. By nightfall, perhaps a little longer. And that is how legends are kept alive. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, like, and share. New haunted tales every week.